So, hello all. Today I'm going to give you an introduction to Linux with respect to developing devices and the role of Linux operating system in designing developing devices. The very first thing we is trying to understand that what is the importance of embedded software and embedded processors. What led to the change in architecture? Earlier, you must have noticed, you must have seen in engineering colleges, engineering degree, or in your BCA you will see, or you will see some old devices, embedded devices, or systems or machines, electromechanical devices, where the moment you used to power on the devices, one program used to run. But today the scenario have changed. Many programs run in the machine at the same time, simultaneously. Therefore, most of the functionality of the embedded systems is now implemented in software. One question that comes to everybody's mind who have little bit idea about embedded is, why is it that earlier the embedded devices were without operating system and were so simple and straight and you used to do very good work, but today the scenario is very different. Today we have embedded devices where you have operating system. You have operating system in every mobile phone. You have an operating system in your Android phones, Apple phones, iOS operating system. You have operating systems in your set-top boxes, even your cars, your washing machines. Everywhere you have embedded operating system. The question that comes to mind is, why do we need operating systems now? Earlier, your embedded devices never had operating system. So the question is, some embedded devices have operating system. Why do we need operating system? Well, the answer is here. Now what happened is, earlier your devices were simple and straight, that the moment you used to power on your devices, earlier, the devices used to get power, and there used to be one program that was already burned in the devices, and that program used to run. Earlier, the moment you used to power on your devices, one program used to run in your machine. One and only one program was executing in your machine earlier, so it was called dedicated machines. And a microcontroller was more than sufficient to run one program in your machine, as there was only one process. एक device में एक ही program run होता था. No manager was required. No operating system was required. No special intelligence was required, because it was understood, you power on, one program will run. Again you power on, again the same program will run, and one single program used to run every time. All of you try to recall that when you studied microcontrollers in your engineering, or if you've not studied at all, doesn't matter. But if you have studied, then you must have noticed that whenever you run an embedded program through some a microcontroller based device, you were able to run only one program at one point of time. You were never able to run two programs simultaneously earlier. But today the scenario has changed. Today the device architecture is very different. Today the device architecture is such that in your devices you have processors instead of microcontrollers. But why? The reason is, today you have many processes running in your program simultaneously. You have many applications running in your phone today. Similarly, there will be many programs and many processes running in your device simultaneously. Every process or program running in your machine have its own hardware requirement, have its own software requirement, have its own communication I/O requirement. So the software complexity becomes enormous. To support this level of software complexity in your devices, you need a manager sitting in there. Like we are training here, okay? I am giving you training, and you are sitting here right in front of me. You are taking this training. So who arranged this? There was a manager, Kamal ma'am, who arranged both of us to sit together and discuss about technology. Okay, so she was a manager. Similarly, inside the devices also, some manager has to sit. That manager will look at what processes will need what resources at what point of time, how the processes will communicate with each other. All these things will be seen by a manager sitting inside the devices now. And that manager is called embedded operating system, like Android in your phone, like iOS in a phone, like Linux in set-top boxes. Okay, so an embedded operating system is needed inside the devices today so as to manage multiple programs running simultaneously. Had there been only one program running like before, the manager was or the operating system was not required. Now, because the number of processes running, applications running in your device is too many, because and there is software, so there is too much software, because operating system or manager also sits inside your device and it also runs, so there was even more software, so there are too much software. So because there is too much software executing inside, then a simple microcontroller that used to run earlier is not powerful or capable enough to handle this level of software complexity. Today we need high-end embedded processors instead of old archaic microcontrollers. You need powerful embedded processors sitting inside your device that can handle the operating system and that can handle all kind of multiple applications, programs and processes running in your machine. So therefore the microcontrollers is outdated and the new incoming technology coming today is embedded processors. For example, ARM, MIPS, PowerPC, Tiger Shark, Freescale. Now these are the new SoCs, new embedded processors that are used in your devices today. So we'll learn about the architecture of this kind of device. This is today and this is future. Microcontroller based technology is old, archaic and outgoing technology. We'll learn about the embedded operating systems. We'll learn about the embedded processors. Okay, so that we are ready for today and for future challenges with respect to our job and career. Okay, now when I say that okay, we need an operating system inside our device, so that comes to our mind, okay fine, we need an operating system, but which operating system? I hope everybody is okay with the English that I am speaking. I like the way Prabhat is responding, that's good. Good. And what about Harsh, Utkarsh and Vikas? Awaiting your response. Harsh and Utkarsh, please be prompt in responding. The kid of the batch, Harsh. Oh, you're not comfortable with English? Harsh, please switch on your mic and talk to me. So, because you have come in BCA, अब सुनो हर्ष, सुनो मेरी बात, सुनो मेरी बात. So, we have just realized that we need an operating system inside our device. So, next question that comes to our mind is, which operating system? So, the answer to this is Linux. We will use Linux operating system as the operating system of choice to do this training and build our career in this domain. Okay, Linux started around 45 years ago. It all started around 45 years ago. In 1969, a Unix operating system was the first operating system that was built, and that was built using C programming language. The C programming language was developed to build a Unix operating system, and Unix operating system was built in C programming language. Okay, then from Unix, Linux evolved and how it grew, and later on it became very popular. It went to Free Software Foundation, it became Free SI story, blah blah. All this story and all everything about Linux, how Linux evolved and how Linux became such a wonderful operating system, and how it became available everywhere in this world for everybody and free of cost. You want to understand all this, for that you have to go to members area on the website. In the members area on the left hand side, everybody see this, you will see courses. In courses you will see 000 Linux system administration. I am going to add more things into this, but right now in session number 1 that we are going today, introduction to Linux part 1, these are the documents associated with this session. You see introduction to Linux, you look at this, it tells you a story, how Linux came, what Linux is today. तो अगर आपको इंटरेस्ट लगे तो आप इसे देख लेना, पढ़ लेना, और पढ़ना है, याद नहीं रखना है. You don't have to remember things, you just have to study this. Then document number 2 tells you absolute basics about Linux, that what are some basic things that you want to learn with Linux so that you can start working with Linux. Another document tells you how to get help. मदद कहाँ से लें? Who is there to help you? You know, the man pages and other things. You just see how to take help to be able to work on Linux. This is general overview of the Linux operating system, which tells you what is the operating system, how it looks like. And then there is an orientation in the file system. There is a file system in Linux. We will have to understand. There are 2 documents for understanding the file system in the Linux. Okay, this you will see later on. If you feel like, you know, अगर मन है तो देख लेना, otherwise you can get away without reading also. I have no issues. But it's for you only. Okay, so the whole story I'm not going to tell you. The whole story you can read. I am a technical person and more into doing things rather than reading. Reading part I have written there. ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो मेरे को बतानी नहीं पड़ेंगी, आप पढ़ के समझ सकते हैं. You can read and understand. So you'll read and understand. What I will do is I'll straight away jump to working with Linux. Okay, how to work with Linux. One thing I would like to tell you certainly, that Linux is everywhere today. Everywhere, every house, every table, every desk in this world have Linux. Okay, it's everywhere. It's in database, clusters, IoTs, embedded, ISPs, LAN, WAN, cloud, system administration, security. It's everywhere. Okay, 98% of the servers in this world work on Linux, and 2% servers work on Microsoft and IBM. 98% is Linux today. Okay, it is everywhere and it is very stable. Okay, everybody from all over the world contributes to Linux. Linux is open source, मतलब इसका software open है, सारे देख सकते हैं. I'll tell you how open is Linux operating system. All of you tell me, answer my question. All of you have written Hello World program? Yes, no? Hello World in C? Two people, 3 people, 4 people. Very nice. Now try to recall. To understand that Hello World program was just looking at the Hello World program was sufficient, or you had to go inside the program, write the program yourself, compile the program, run the program, and then you understood. Well, I'm very sure you will say that you were able to understand that Hello World program only after you did a writing for yourself. You wrote it yourself. Then only you were able to understand it properly. Well, that's correct. Think, if to understand one single program of one line, you had to write the program, then how do you expect yourself to understand the operating system without looking at the operating system program? If you can't understand a single Hello World program by reading a book, how can you understand the operating system by reading a book? Isn't it? So Linux is open source. When I say Linux is open source and I tell you that source code is open for everybody to view and develop and work on, so it becomes my responsibility to show you the operating system immediately. Have a look at the Linux operating system. This is the first operating system you will see, and feel the power that the moment you get access to the source code, your level of understanding will be very different. Here it is. /usr/src/kernel Linux version 5.10.22. We are inside Linux operating system. Inside Linux operating system there is a folder or directory called init. Inside init there is a file called main.c. This is your Linux operating system. See this. License GPL version 2, copyright Linus Torvalds, and this is your Linux operating system. Okay. Like all the C programs start from main, the Linux operating system start from start kernel. This line. Start from here. Start kernel function. The C program starts from main function, in which you write hello world. The kernel starts from start kernel function, and there it is. First the stack will be, first the processor will be started, and then the interrupts will be disabled, and what is the sequence of processor startup, system startup is explained here. So this we will understand later on. We'll try to understand this later on. But yeah, this is the beginning. This is what I wanted to say when I say that Linux is open operating system. You don't have to read books. You just have to do things to learn things. Because it's open source, you can have access to all kind of sources, programs. Okay. Some very important properties of Linux: it's free, very good. It is portable to any hardware, means you can configure Linux to work on any hardware. It is made to keep on running, and you can make it configure it to run forever. There will be no gradual degradation. Like suppose you start Windows and you run Windows operating system for 6 months. After 6 months you will find that it will slowly become very slow, isn't it? But Linux is made to run. It is not. There is no gradual degradation, and it runs forever and ever and ever. It is very secure and versatile, scalable. You don't have. It's very secure. Hacking Linux-based systems or servers is very difficult as compared to any other operating system. But there are some cons also, some demerits, because there are too many different distributions like Fedora, Debian, Ubuntu, Kali, Mint, so many different distributions. Debian, it becomes difficult for people to choose and maintain a particular distribution because there is no support available. But that demerit goes away from you because you have support in terms of EmbLogic. EmbLogic stands by you as a support to give you good understanding and troubleshoot your issues with respect to Linux. Okay, but yes, once you become comfortable with Linux, then you'll love it. Okay, now this is how we start Linux. All of you see this. Whenever you start Linux, you will start like this: activities. Activities, like in Windows you have My Computer, from where you enter into the computer. Linux have activities. Fedora basically have activities. So when you click on activities, you see that there are 9 dots here. Okay, in these 9 dots you have all the applications. These are the applications. Okay, there are utilities. You click on utilities and you'll see terminal here. You right click the terminal and bring it to the favorites. These are the list of favorites here. So in the favorites you see terminal here. I am talking about this terminal. You will always start working with this terminal. You click on this and the terminal will open like this, and terminal will look like this. Like this. Terminal will look like this. This is called terminal. Okay. Usually this window will be white, but I have turned it black so that it doesn't give you much strain on your eyes. So this is terminal, and how does this terminal work on? First of all, see what is written here. It's written Prabjot Singh at localhost tel_design. What is this? Well, this is it. On the left hand side, you will see on the terminal you will see all these things. What are these things now? Well, here it is. On the left hand side here you see this is the username, current username who's logged in. Okay, in my system the user who is logged in, the username is Prabjot Singh. @localhost. This localhost is machine name. My machine name is also localhost. Then after that you have this tel_design. This tel_design means current working directory. Okay, in this current working directory, this tel_d has a special meaning. This tel_d has a special meaning. tel_d means will give a home directory of the current user. Means this tel_d means home directory of the currently logged in user. Currently logged in user is Prabjot here. So this is the home. tel_d sign means home directory of the current logged in user. Okay. Then you have this prompt. Prompt means shell is ready. You can go ahead and give your commands. Okay. So this is how the terminal is used. I'll put this in your Jamboard here. The very first thing is the terminal that you will be using. some issue with the LibreOffice photo. So we had an issue, and the issue was because of this small circle here. Let me remove this. Oh. Now it will be fine. So this is the prompt, and this is the beginning of the terminal. When you see the dollar sign here, this dollar sign means that system is ready to take commands. Okay, system is ready to take commands, right? So the moment you see the prompt in your screen, you understand that your terminal is launched, and you can go ahead. Now, what are the commands that you can give in Linux? Well, some very simple commands to make you familiar with Linux. The command like who. Have a look at this, how this command runs. When I give the command who, WHO, who is logged in? It says Prabjot Singh is logged in at terminal number 1. This is the date and time. Then I give a command date, D-A-T-E, date command, gives you Wednesday, 14 July 2021, and then the time, date and time. Then I give CAL, cal means calendar. It gives you calendar for the current date, current month, isn't it? LS, list the contents of current directory. There it is. Now what is this directory now? Now all of you have been using the windowed system. So let me bring some resemblances here with respect to windowed system. Look at this. This is what you are familiar with. Okay, you're familiar with folders. You're familiar with this. Suppose I take you to other location. Other location is computer. In Windows you have my computer from where you start. In Linux you have computer. Double click or go back, isn't it? See, the computer has another name in the file. The computer is your computer, as in computer, and this is the slash. Slash means file system inside your computer. Like in Windows you have C drive, D drive, E drive, like that. Here you have a slash, which is the beginning of all the drives. So the file system in Linux is a beginning from slash, the Linux file system. File system is like how you arrange all your files. Well, everything starts from slash. Slash, which is the like my computer. Okay. This has another name. Then it is also called root. If you go inside computer, double click. Inside computer you will see folders like bin, boot, dev, etc, fonts. The folders will not be called folders in Linux. Instead the folders will be called directories. So inside slash means inside computer you found these. Now on the terminal also, this is your terminal. On the terminal, suppose you want to go to computer, means you want to go to slash, means you want to go to root. So you'll do command is cd, means change directory. The folder is called not folder is called directory in Linux. So you do slash, cd slash. When you do cd slash, you enter the beginning of the file system. Notice this, earlier it was tld and now it has changed to slash, means beginning of file system. Here you are, okay. Here you are, beginning of file system, computer. Here you are, beginning of file system, computer, means slash means root. Then you can see all the contents of this folder or this directory. Here also you will be able to see ls list, bin, script, boot, dev, etc. Here it is bin, backup script, boot, dev, etc, fonts, home. Everything is graphical view, terminal view. Now inside this, suppose you want to go inside maybe home. Double click and you will go inside home. Here also you see home. Where is it? Home. You want to go inside home. cd home, enter. See, the slash has not changed to home because you are inside home directory. Here also computer home, you are inside home directory. Inside home directory you see there is Pravjot Singh directory, my directory, because I am the username, so my directory will be created here. So here also you do ls list, there you see Pravjot Singh directory. You want to go inside Pravjot directory, Pravjot Singh directory. Somebody give me the command on the chat. What should be the command to go inside Pravjot Singh directory? Somebody in the chat. Come on. Prabhat, wo command, give me that command using which you can go inside. Yes, Rishabh, very good, I like that. cd space directory name, cd Pravjot Singh, enter. हम Pravjot Singh directory के अंदर आ गया. See, double click. You are inside Pravjot Singh directory, which is the home directory of the current user. Similarly, the moment I go do cd Pravjot Singh, I come inside tld directory, means home directory of the current user. And when you do list, you see desktop, documents, downloads. And here also you do ls list, desktop, document, downloads. Yes, Utkarsh, this is correct. Very good. So desktop, documents, download, this is how you go inside your Pravjot Singh directory. Suppose you want to go back, okay, from here. What do? You will click on this icon, it will take you back. From the terminal, if you want to go back, you do cd double dot, enter. See, you are back to home. You were inside Pravjot Singh, now you are back to home. You want to go more back here? Slash लगाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है ऋषभ, but this is good. You click back, you go to computer. Slash means root. Here also you want to go back, cd dot. You are back at the root. See देखो, slash आ गया. So you are back at the root. List means list the contents of current directory. I hope all of you are familiar with. क्या अब मैं ये graphical user interface GUI को बंद कर दूं और आप यहीं पे समझ पाओगे सब कुछ? Tell me yes or no. ये GUI को हमेशा के लिए बंद करने जा रहा हूँ, कभी नहीं खोलूंगा आज के बाद. Very good. I like your confidence. ये हो गई बंद. अब आज के बाद कभी नहीं खुलेगी. अब हम इसी पे काम करेंगे. We are at the root right now. Very good. Inside root you see there are so many directories. Bin. अब बैकअप स्क्रिप्ट इज इट अ डायरेक्टरी और इज इट अ फाइल कैसे पता करें? मैंने ls करके देखा ये है ना. ls was the command to list the contents of current directory. है ना. यहाँ पे मैं टर्मिनल में लिस्ट कर देता हूँ कि कौन कौन से कमांड्स अभी तक हमने यूज किए. कमांड्स The commands that we have used till now, dollar is the prompt. We used a command called who. Another command was cal. Another command was date. Another command was cd, change directory, isn't it? Now we are at the root. See, यहाँ से पता चलता है हम कहाँ हैं, है ना? We are at the root. Okay. Inside root मैंने ls किया. You have been backup script boot. पर इससे पता नहीं चल रहा है कि backup script folder है, directory है या file है. There is another command called ll, means long listing, जो कि bin boot dev etc सब वही same list of files is displayed, but displayed in a long descriptive listing. So another command that we see today, we have seen, is one was ls, another command was ll. So these are the commands that we have used till now. If you look at this backup script, look at the leftmost column, look this carefully. Leftmost column says hyphen. There is a directory called modules project. Leftmost column says D, means it's a directory, whereas backup script leftmost column was a hyphen, means it was an ordinary text file. L means it is a link to some other file. D means a directory or a folder. Okay, this is how you will determine that where you are in the current directory at the current moment, and what you are accessing is actually a file or a directory or a link to some other file, whatever it is. So you see here there is a directory called training, है ना? We will go inside this. So cd training, enter. We are in training. ls list the contents of this directory, enter. You see there are so many directories here, isn't it? Huh? So inside all these directories, but none of these directories are our directory. Suppose you want to create our own directory, है ना? So we have the youngest people, and the kid in the training is Harsh here. So we create a directory on the Harsh name. So let's create directory. Now we are going to learn how to create directory. mkdir means make directory. Name of the directory Harsh. Okay, enter. Oh, it says mkdir cannot create directory Harsh. It says file exists. इस नाम की directory already बनी हुई है. अच्छा, क्या हमने बनाई थी? हाँ, हर्ष नाम की directory already बना चुके हैं. चलो कोई बात नहीं. So we have Prabhat joined today. So let's have a directory on Prabhat's name. So mkdir prabhat, enter. Oh, अभी भी नहीं बना रहा. It says mkdir cannot create directory called Prabhat. क्यों? अब क्यों नहीं बना सकते? कहता है permission denied. हमें Linux सिस्टम में डायरेक्टरी बनाने की, फोल्डर बनाने की परमिशन नहीं है. क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि हम प्रभजोत सिंह यूजर बन के बैठे हैं. हमें तो पावरफुल यूजर बनना होगा. जैसे like in Windows you have administrator, the user that have all the capabilities, permissions. Similarly in Linux also there is a super user. So we have to log in as a super user. To command to log in as a super user is su super user with the default permissions, enter. And it says give the password for super user. I have just typed the password for super user which is not visible, enter. Now see, earlier I was logged in as a Prabjot Singh user, isn't it? But now I am logged in as a root user. So the name of the super user is root. Now there are two roots. One is the root file system root directory. Another is a root which is a super user. So there are two type of roots. So another command we saw just now was su hyphen. which makes you logged in as a super user called root. So we are logged in as root. अब फिर हम list करो ls, we are inside the home directory of the root user. Now we go to cd slash means beginning of the file system. Enter. ls lists the contents of the root file system. This is it. There is a directory here called training. We will go inside training. cd training. Enter. See, we are inside training now. ls for list. Okay. Now there are so many directories. I want to create a directory on the name of Prabhat. mkdir prabhat. Prabhat. Capital P. Enter. Oh, yeah. ls list. There you see, I am able to create a directory called Prabhat. So the new command that we have seen just now is Prabhat. mkdir command, isn't it? So let's go inside Prabhat directory. cd Prabhat. Enter. List खाली है. प्रभात डायरेक्टरी के अंदर अभी कुछ नहीं बनाया है. ठीक है ना? सो यहाँ हम काम शुरू करेंगे नेक्स्ट क्लास में. आज पहला दिन है, लाइट रखते हैं. लेकिन आप सारे कोई अगर मन करे तो जितने जॉब नहीं कर रहे हैं वो तो टूट पड़ो. You know, because why टूट पड़ो is because you wanted to do something beautiful in your life, but the problem was how to do it. So this is the answer to how to do it. Please go through these documents and make yourself a better person in next 24 hours. Okay.